Paul, you were listening to Sheikh Ahmed there. You know, if deflection was a science, that man would get an MBE. Now, Mr. Griffiths, good morning. Why are we still on the red list, and will we come off it next week? Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I think the problem is, of course, the UK government is taking a very conservative approach. And of course, their primary focus is to protect the health of the UK population. And I have huge sympathy with that. The only problem with that, of course, is the social and economic damage that lack of mobility is causing all nations, including the UK, is considerable. And we've taken so many steps here in the UAE to protect overseas populations by ensuring that everyone's tested. We remain ready to have discussions about whether we should include vaccination as a prerequisite to travel. I think there needs to be more engagement, and we represent, I believe, a much safer route to the UK than a lot of other countries that are currently on the green list.
Well, can you clear up an urban myth of Dubai, that there's a consideration of using DWC to allow people to travel, let's say, directly to Europe and to the UK, and use Dubai's other airport as the hub? Is there any truth to that myth in this time?
None whatsoever. You know, we remain focused on operations here at DXB, where we've got all the health measures in place. I mean, we've administered, for example, on arrival, something like 4 million PCR tests now, without queues, without cost. And we're similarly taking huge measures on departure to protect everyone, social distancing, plexiglass screens at all service points, and near hospital operating theatre levels of cleanliness throughout the airport. So we're doing everything we possibly can. And as Sheikh Ahmed has said, the data is supporting that approach. So while we're still on the red list, I hope by the 28th of May, which is the next date on which the UK government will review the next steps on their traffic light system, that we will make it at least to amber, if not to green.
Okay, so you're hopeful that we go to amber on the 28th. How soon could we get to green?
Well, I can't be precise about what the timescale is. That's completely down to the British government. But I do think that the statistics now, the infection rates, the way we've gone over 100% vaccination, the whole sort of hospitalization data suggests that we are amongst the best in the world now. So we should be at the top of the tree in terms of consideration for green or amber.
Paul, can I just push you a little bit more? Sheikh Ahmed says that the UK is not being transparent enough. Do you agree with that statement? And if so, where is the transparency lacking, Paul?
Well, I think there were some statements which were a little bit erroneous about the fact that we're a hub makes us more of a risk to the UK. That is absolutely not the case. And we've offered to cooperate with the UK government on finding ways to make DXB the safest gateway to the UK. But so far, that engagement hasn't actually led to any positive decision yet, but we're still pushing.
Do you think it's pure politics, Paul? Do you think this just comes down to pure politics?
I think the thing is the UK government are taking a very conservative stance, and I understand that. But as I said at the beginning, the difficulty, of course, is the social and economic damage that's doing is considerable. There's got to be a roadmap out of COVID-19, and vaccine passports and working in partnership with overseas points of origin surely is the way, and we stand ready to have that conversation.
Paul, let me broaden the conversation. India is in the grip of this virus. Singapore, Japan under pressure. You've closed the South African routes, you've closed the Indian routes. The UK is not open at the moment. How severely are you downgrading your return to normalcy, your return to throughput? Give me some timeline on when you'll get back to something like 58 million passengers travelled with Emirates pre-COVID. How soon do you think we'll get back there, Paul?
The difficulty, of course, is that we're not in control of that conversation. You know, we feel as though we're all dressed up and nowhere to go at the moment because, of course, it relies, as Sheikh Ahmed said in his interview, on the openness of the markets that we serve. India is over 30% of our total traffic, so it is a huge market that we're missing at the moment. But I do think that once recovery comes, the recovery will be extremely rapid. And our challenge is to remain ready for that. And really, if we can have these conversations with overseas governments and arrive at a series of bilateral agreements where we put measures in place, perhaps we need to certify vaccinations and really go further to persuade people that we are a safe point of origin and destination, and we should be given the recognition for that, and to restart those vital air routes to get the global economy and everyone in the world, 4 billion people that have been under lockdown over the last year, travelling again.
Paul, we've got a couple of key subjects to get through, but let me just finish off with, on this reopening narrative. How progressed are you with the technology for a vaccine passport, first of all?
Very progressed. We are undertaking a trial with a number of airlines and airports around the world, which is being facilitated by IATA with their travel pass product. We just need to make sure that all of the controlling authorities are also participating in that scheme. And we're very optimistic that that is going to be the route out of the current pandemic and allow people to travel safely.
Yeah, I think Michael O'Leary said if he was waiting for governments to agree a vaccine passport, we could be here for 3 years. Paul, do you need more cash from the government? And if so, how much?
We don't, no. We've taken draconian measures to control our cost. We've had to reduce significantly our employee base. We took those measures very early last year when it was clear the pandemic was going to go on for some time. And our current traffic projections through the end of the year, even with the current restrictions on market access that we've got, still suggest that we can exist without any support or subsidy.
Would you be tempted? Michael O'Leary said to me yesterday, look, the debt markets are what he is monitoring as a cheap source of finance. Are you preparing to come to the debt markets? Have you done investigation? Are you talking to any banks about doing that?
Well, all of our finances, being a government organisation, are controlled by the Department of Finance. What they're considering, you'd have to refer to them to see what's on their agenda.